Israel will begin testing their Arrow 3 weapon system from Kodiak, Alaska sometime in the summer of 2018. The Arrow 3 weapon system is an exo-atmospheric anti-ballistic missile funded and developed by both Israel and America. It is designed to intercept ballistic missiles, including ICBMs carrying nuclear, chemical, biological, or conventional warheads. This system can also be used as an anti-satellite weapon, making Israel one of the few countries with the capability to shoot down satellites.
In this open session, can you say anything about the work that we're doing with Israel in terms of missile defense? I think that there's some talk about doing a joint test on the Arrow system.
Yes, sir. We're close partners with Israel on development of their systems, system engineering in particular, and testing support also. And been intimately involved with them on David Sling and Arrow, the more recent version of Arrow 3. And frankly, that interceptor is now up into the exo-atmosphere, and it has significant range constraints within the Mediterranean. And one of the better places to test is in Alaska from Kodiak, and we plan to do that next year.
The test site is at the Pacific Spaceport Complex, Alaska. Recently, 62 shipping containers renovated into sleeping quarters arrived at the spaceport with the intention to house over 200 plus Israeli soldiers. This section is called the Life Support Area. All amenities will be provided for the Israeli military, including a synagogue. To help prepare the Israeli military, the spaceport installed fencing around the complex with barbed wire on top. I'm not sure who the complex is trying to keep out. But just think about this. Foreign troops are coming to train and conduct missile tests on U.S. soil, yet not one mainstream media outlet has covered the story. Locals around the area have contacted CNN and NBC about the issue, but has yet to receive a response, and we've yet to see anything on their show. Kodiak has been a site used over the years for missile and rocket tests due to its geographic location. Just a few years ago in 2014, a rocket test failed and exploded. This explosion has increased the pollution of the spaceport and military operations in the surrounding areas, mainly on public land. Kodiak has a long history of military pollution from World War II that has not been completely cleaned up. The Superfund and the Army Corps of Engineers have been busy here over the last 20 years trying to clean it up, or at least stabilize the huge contaminated sites near town. They have admitted that they can't clean it up completely. At U.S. military installations all over the nation, the use of toxic rocket fuel has become problematic. The fuels leak into our local water supplies, and there is currently a national epidemic from contamination. And we all know the Pentagon has a poor track record of cleaning up its own mess. Needless to say, many of the Kodiak people are not happy about the further militarization of their island. The launch facility, the facilities of the Israeli military, the rockets, and everything has been funded either by the state of Alaska or the Department of the Department of Defense. This means that American taxpayers on Kodiak Island are funding the militarization of their own island, along with providing resources for the apartheid state of Israel. While the spaceport on Kodiak, Alaska will promote itself as a commercial launch site, it is developing a military-industrial complex on state public land. Since being built in 1998, the Alaska spaceport has conducted 17 launches. 2 of these launches have exploded, further polluting public land in Alaska. Every one of these launches has been funded by the U.S. government, mostly from the military. The Alaska Spaceport recently signed a contract with the Missile Defense Agency, which consists of over $80 million between 2016 and 2021. The people of Kodiak and the greater Alaska areas have been increasingly worried about several issues. The people will lose access to public recreational lands, beaches, and waterways. There appears to be no control over the development, neither by the state of Alaska or the Kodiak Island Borough, the two installations supposedly with oversight of this project. And the Kodiak Island Borough doesn't seem to be taxing anything on this development. So Americans are paying for a free ride for the Israeli government to test missiles on American soil. The Alaska Spaceport is owned and operated by an institution called the Alaska Aerospace Corporation, AAC. The AAC promotes itself as self-sustaining, but they have relied heavily on subsidies and contracts with the Pentagon in order to stay alive. As a result, they are looking for other states to keep the money flowing and to even build a spaceport complex in places like Hawaii. So for over 20 years, the AAC, in collusion with the Pentagon, have been deceiving the public. The Alaska Spaceport has never been used for commercial purposes, which is a lie that they sold to the Alaskan public. The Pacific Spaceport Complex in Alaska was never meant to be a commercial satellite launch location, but rather a research, development, and test site for testing new rockets and missiles, which is not what the Kodiak public or local officials were told in the beginning. The commercial satellite story was the reason in order for the AAC to get a military foothold in Kodiak. As a local resident of Kodiak has said, if the military wants to test its weapons, among other things like bringing in foreign troops, it should be done on federal or military-owned property, not on public or state lands. What is concerning the local residents is that the current expanding military infrastructure at Kodiak, more fences, more facilities, more launch pads, and more troops, all overlooking the scenic cliffsides above the popular Fossil Beach recreational area, leading to more public restrictions in the future because of these increased launches. In other words, the American public is being duped into compromising what little freedoms we have left to creating a stronger and more dominant national security apparatus, which includes colluding with foreign governments like Israel. The result is a promise from the Pentagon, a promise to pollute this beautiful, pristine land, paid for by American citizens, developed by the military-industrial complex, and aimed at innocent civilians all around the world. This is what it means to be addicted to war. This is what it means to be addicted to military spending. This is what it means when institutions of authority behave without accountability. The result is a promise that the Pentagon will mislead, mistreat, and misbehave, and the victims will be the ones to clean up the mess that they paid for. This is the American empire.